Hi, I'm Ellie and I've been travelling Australia's east coast for the past 4 months in my 2007 Toyota Hiace Arcadia, which I self-converted into a camper van. And even though van life is over for me, it is not for you because I have months of footage on the editing backlog. So as promised, today's vlog is of the Whitsundays, which is a group of islands just off the Queensland coastline in northern Australia. So I drove my van up to Airlie Beach, which is on the mainland, parked up there and caught a day trip to the islands, and here is what I got up to. I'm Ellie Wilder and you're watching Wilder in Motion. So the gateway to the Whitsundays is Airlie Beach, which is more of a bay than a beach. It's quite rocky, but it is an extremely picturesque place, very postcard perfect, truly something that I'd only seen photos of before, with this unique coloured turquoise water because of the sediment that's in the water makes it appear this really bright colour that you just don't get in other places further south on the coast. It's more of that dark blue. They also have this kind of man-made lagoon next to the water because of stingers. It allows people to still swim easily in the summer, and that's just open to the public and free, which is really nice as well. So to get to the Whitsundays, I booked a tour on this speedboat called Red Cat Adventures, so that allowed me to do lots of things within the one day. And it got us there very quickly to Whitsunday Island, which is the largest island and has Inlet Lookout, which looks right across this beautiful turquoise coloured water, and you can see this kind of swirling sand where the depth of the water is different. So it's incredibly spectacular to be able to get that elevated view of the different colours in the water. I had a bit of a bushwalk, just a short 20-minute walk to get down to Whitehaven Beach, which was quite reminiscent of Fraser Island, which is somewhere I went in a previous vlog because of this bright white sand. It wasn't quite as soft as Fraser Island, there was certainly more other sediments in it. And because of the uneven water, I was able to walk out to this sandbank. You can't really go in too deep without a stinger suit, even though it was just on the end of the stinger season. You do have to be a little bit careful still. And it was truly beautiful being there and just having a small group of people there. I could have spent so much time here. It did end up absolutely pouring down with rain after about 30 minutes or so, so I didn't get to spend quite as much time hanging out there as possible, and all my stuff got drenched, but that was okay because we spent most of the rest of the day actually in the water. So once the rain kind of let up a little bit, we got back on the boat to have some lunch before heading to our first snorkeling spot of the day. So we caught the boat around to a different island, which was a little smaller, to snorkel just off the edge. There are a few other private sailing boats and things like that around there, and this was definitely the largest fish that I had snorkeled that close to because they did have a fish feeding license. The fish were very friendly, came up extremely close. There was not so much in the way of coral, so that's why we ended up doing a separate snorkel at a site that had a big coral reef. This is more about the fish. So this was the main school of fish, and then there were a few sort of individual fish hanging around as well. So I went for a little look to see what other fish I could find, and I found these very large parrotfish. Parrotfish are pretty common. I've seen them a lot snorkeling. These ones though were more up around the 40 or 50 centimeter mark, and in general just the fish here were a lot bigger. I don't know if that's because they were artificially fed or it was just something else about the region. After about 30 minutes there, we got back on the boat to go to the edge of a different island to snorkel along the reef there, and this was something I was really excited for because in all of my previous snorkeling adventures, a lot of the coral has been very dull, mostly just kind of brown or looking like sandy or rocky. So I was excited to be able to actually appreciate some of the variety of colours, of sizes, of shapes of coral all clumped together so densely in this really healthy reef system. And I certainly got to do that, and this was just right along the edge of the reef as well. We didn't actually go kind of further into it because it was quite low tide, but there was so many different types of coral, many that I had never seen before, because doing most of my snorkeling in either Sydney or in Vanuatu, you get certain local regions of coral, so I'd never been snorkeling up this far north before. And the thing that just amazed me the most is how closely they were all growing. I mean, almost on top of each other, completely different varieties of coral, including lots of soft coral as well, which I believe grows more in warmer regions. So you mostly just get harder coral of what I'd seen on my previous snorkeling adventures. And it was just really good to see the variety of coral that I had missed at places like Lady Elliot Island, where they'd had a huge variety of animals, but not so much the marine plant life. So after about 30 minutes there as well, we headed back. It's all gone pretty quickly in this video, but it was actually quite a long day, but enjoyable. Shame about the rain though. Then back to Airlie Beach, I had a little bit of a walk around in the evening. It was a super picturesque, quiet sort of town, but certainly like a buzzing restaurant scene, and this gives you a sense of the sort of topography of the town, even though it was fairly small. Ultimately, I really enjoyed my trip to the Whitsundays. It's definitely worth spending quite a bit of time there. I of course only had one day, which was a good way to see it given having a short amount of time and wanting to stay in my van on the mainland. But another way to do it is to stay in accommodation at one of the islands like Hamilton Island and then do little day trips from there, because it's a bit cheaper since you're not traveling as far on the boat. But best case scenario would be owning your own boat, and then you could take your time, go to as many different islands and snorkeling spots as you want, because there's certainly lots to see, more than I was able to see in just one day. But I do think I ticked off the highlights. Whitehaven Beach totally reminded me of Fraser Island, which was another one of my highlights. I really just love the white sand and turquoise water. Unfortunately, because of the stingers, you couldn't really swim here in the same way that you can at Fraser Island, but this did have the added benefit of being able to do all that snorkeling, and the coral snorkeling was definitely a highlight, because I've done a lot of snorkeling, but it's not always the coral. I've definitely seen some really cool creatures, like turtles was one off the list, so to be able to see some interesting coral as well was something just a bit different from the past snorkeling that I had done. Well, I hope you found this video interesting or entertaining or useful. If you want to see more of my van life content or my van life vlogs, then check out the link in the description below. Otherwise, if you want to join the trip, then be sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.